Okay. Yeah, I'll turn it on again.
Can you turn the game audio down? Like quite a bit. There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, that should work now.
Should be good now.
Yeah, I think that should be good now. So it's gonna be a little out of sync, but it's fine.
Out of sync? Streaming stuff? Never.
That's all right.
Alright.
There we go.
All good.
Alright,
Well,
so just
hello
do a
everyone.
countdown,
I'm good.
whatever.
We're just gonna do the quick introduction again, just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm Joshua. I'm here with my decks. This is all day stages and all night stages. Not an official category, just two categories mixed into one for a marathon. Donate now to see Eggman Land, bad Eggman Land gameplay right here, live. That's
Yeah,
pretty
we're
much about it,
I think we're $57 away from the goal for Eggman Land.
Nice. Alright, I'll just give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so you guys need to understand this game is really fast, really fast. If you haven't seen it before, it's not going to last for long. There's a number of things that are happening in the very beginning of the stage. Josh is going to be going for a huge skip in the first stage here, Rooftop Run. This stage is going to show off a number of mechanics we can kind of go over for the speed run. So first thing you're going to be noticing is the thing called we call it M speed. So there's M speed and D speed. We're just going to cover M speed right now. The idea of
I can fix this, I think.
going for this. Struggling with it. So yeah, we start with the stage because it's really hard. It's a good one to kind of get going with. So the idea of M speed is that we're essentially manipulating Sonic's momentum to increase exponentially and cover huge distances. And the setup for this particular skip is very tricky.
I don't know why I lost my speed there, but it just kind of happened.
Yeah, this game does things. So by holding a very particular direction on the analog stick, it's right when Sonic begins to walk. If you hold that while maintaining your speed off of a jump, then you can basically coast your way over all sorts of gaps and things like that. It's quite hard, but covers a number of options. And of course, there's also this building skip right here, which allows for some wall running on a wall that you can't see. Well, just kind of do whatever you want in this game, really. So it's quite a number of things happening. This is a boost gen game. This is one of the boost gen games, so one of the first one aside from Rush. So you're just seeing a lot of boosting, a lot of 2D and 3D shenanigans going on.
We seem to be in the clear though.
Mm-hmm. There's also another technique you're seeing a bunch of, which is QSS, or quick slide step, or quick step slide. I always forget what most people say. But really, it's a matter of combining both quick stepping, which is when you're sort of tapping left and right on these 3D sections, and also sliding. So if you hold the slide button while you're quick stepping, you can kind of just keep increasing that momentum. And also, like Josh nicely avoiding the dash panels there. Typically, dash pads will cap your speed to a certain degree, so doing the quick hop into a stomp, back into the slide, and back into quick stepping will avoid all that. It's a very tight technique to do, so seeing it pulled off so beautifully is always nice.
Ready?
Yeah, so each stage has their main acts, and then they all have these little side acts. Some of them are more like 2D oriented, some of them are 3D oriented, and they kind of play these little almost kind of little challenge levels in a way. So you're going to be seeing some D speed here, which is the 2D variant of M speed. So essentially, it's the same idea that you're holding the analog stick in a particular direction, but you're able to move across this whole 2D plane. Even though the stage is curved, you still maintain that movement. Josh is also going to go soon for like a lap skip here, which is quite tricky to do.
There's no real consistency as to why the balloon disappears and why it doesn't. the save marathon way is going up onto the platform, doing D speed to the left, so you can just skip the bloom, don't have to rely on inconsistency, and you can just start wall jumping. What happened there is I tapped stomp instead of holding stomp, and that'll immediately kill all speed that I had, which is what happened there.
Right. Yeah, Stomp is pretty tricky in this game compared to later boost-in games in that if you hold Stomp, you'll actually continue into a slide, which is really useful for maintaining momentum. But if you just tap it and you don't hold it, then you'll Stomp and you'll halt all your momentum. So you have to kind of know which way to control that, as opposed to in later games where it's just strictly kind of a momentum halt sort of maneuver. Hey, Chow, remember those?
No.
Collect them. Hey, Chaotix. So we're collecting some Chow here. Kind of a neat little platform stage. Again, just one of those little 2D challenge stages. You know, some of these have like various little gimmicks and things to them.
And then after you save all 10 of them, they realise they have the numbers and start attacking Sonic at the result screen. Little did they realise Sonic is invulnerable at that point, and thus their attacks are useless. Silly Chow. Maybe next time.
Those little cannibals. Gotta love them.
Alright, now we're moving on to Wimalal. This is the first location that you play in when you are first playing this game. This is a tutorial level. It's got a pretty cool trick that I'll be trying for. I hope that it's kind to me. Okay, cool, it is. Didn't go well in practice, but I'm glad it worked here.
Yeah, so you guys will probably see some interesting movement happening there. So essentially, Josh was able to find a point of collision along that wall and get him set up where he could actually drift along up it and then maintain the momentum afterwards. And just, it's one of those really tricky positioning type deals where you have to place yourself so perfectly the moment you collide with that wall, and then actually get the momentum to start boosting and drifting along it before you actually fall off. And it's crazy hard. Josh managed to get it pretty cleanly.
We have a $5 donation from Leading Teacher saying $5 for my favorite retired The Last of Us speedrunner who knew that he played Sonic. Put this towards Eggman Land. Let's make Josh play more Unleashed.
Yeah, Last of Us was Sega's greatest creation, hands down.
Oh, indeed. Can't wait for the next one, God of War. So we got a lot of so something I love this game is the way going from 3D to 2D sections works. I mean, it's similar to stuff like Generations, but in terms of being able to manipulate your speed and momentum from a 3D to 2D section, it can do a lot of wacky stuff. We're going to see a bunch of imp speed here along the rails. Oh, quick.
As intended.
So yeah, switching the rails at a inopportune time. I'm not even going to call it a wrong time. An inopportune time will cause Sonic to not quite jump on the rail. But yeah, so holding on to imp speed here.
The way they're positioned, and it's a very small gap, but yeah, I somehow still hit it.
Yeah, it's tricky. So yeah, one of my favorite things, you know, really pay attention and for when Josh is doing some of the 2D sequences, especially when it comes to stomps, because some of the timing and restrictions when it comes to stomping, holding that stomp, making sure you go into a slide so you keep the momentum, dodging these little obstacles, maintaining that D speed, all of those things happening together in such a tight fashion in such a small window is really insane to me. And you know, you really start paying attention to those sounds, and gives you an idea of just how many things he's having to do at one time and pay attention to.
Now we're coming up to one of the longest stages in the game, quite difficult, like frame perfect tricks everywhere, just amounts of M speed, just crazy. Actually, not really.
I was waiting for it. So yeah, so number of these 2D stages have, you know, again, like we saw earlier, lap skips. So this one's gonna go by fairly quick.
Well, if I wasn't bad.
That's
I'm struggling with this practice as well.
Yeah, for as simple as this trick seems to be at first glance, it's quite
There
difficult.
we go. Without the D speed, it's what really makes it difficult. You can still make it, but you need to jump higher up from the rail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a rail booster up the top just to prevent you from doing something like that. But
Right.
I'm sure they never anticipated you to jump through the rail like you do.
Yeah, one of the way D-Speed works right there is that when you're in D-Speed, you need to have that speed meter that you see in the bottom left filled. I'm pretty sure when in D-Speed, right, it needs to be filled max.
Halfway.
Or is it halfway for D-Speed? Yeah. And so by doing the homing attack along the rail, you're able to kind of immediately get a bit of a speed there, and then you can jump off of it and hold the speed after that. But again, it's a very tight window. So we're going to be seeing a lot of in-speed here at the beginning of Savannah.
Worst case scenario happened at the 2D section.
Yes.
For
give me
whatever
some
reason,
beautiful
Yeah.
trailer footage.
for whatever reason, in this 2D section, sometimes the spline works and doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one point where it transitions you from the background to the foreground, but sometimes it doesn't go as smoothly.
Yeah, if your angle is just slightly off in some place, the the sort of plane that you're supposed to be on gets a little mixed up, and you get trapped in objects. Yeah, so beautiful 3D and 2D right here. So there are a number of times during the run where you'll see Josh basically, he'll be moving in a 2D section, but he'll have transitioned into it in a way that allows him to retain his 3D properties. So even though he's in that 2D space, he's not locked into it. He can basically just kind of get right in there and then get out. And
Quite some time. I don't think I was on that decent pace.
oh wow, almost a sub-1. That was very nice.
So that kind of time for marathon is real well done.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few runs where I have gotten sub-1 and quite low times. It just shows how much time you can save and how much time you can lose in every stage.
Yeah, this game can be understandably pretty intimidating at a high level just because of how punishing.
Speaking of intimidating, Savannah Citadel Act 2, drifting.
So drifting, for those who may have played a game like Generations, for example, but not so much Unleashed, drifting is not nearly as tight in that game. There's actually quite a bit of control, and that needs to be understood before you get into it. So you'll see Josh sort of slowing down and kind of stopping himself to angle Sonic properly, and that's you really need to do that, or else you're going to be flying off everywhere. It can be quite scary.
I've never seen that before. I have learned something new today.
Oh, you could... What?
I knew you could jump off. I didn't know about the results screen though. Because he's not on the ground.
Yeah, you're totally floating.
Yep.
Hey, video games.
Interesting.
So...
No one has ever done that! No one has ever
No
done that
one.
in the history of Dota!
Dota, you say?
In the history of Sonic Unleashed.
Alright, so this is a kind of new route or game. Are you gonna transition laps? Are you just gonna... Thank you. Come on, tell me what I did wrong. Like, what I did differently in any of those laps. I'd love to understand the stage.
Wait a minute. Wait, what? I don't know. I don't know what you did differently between the two.
Yeah, like, I have a rough idea of where the lap trigger is, but it's very inconsistent whether you actually pass by it or not, and then the laps can stack. It's a very weird stage.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on to Dragon Road or Chunnan, some of the more rough stages where things get a bit more difficult.
Yeah, there's some pretty precise. I really love the stretch too when it's done well. I mean, there's some pretty precise sliding off that ramp, yeah, right into the M speed.
I thought that D speed was going to turn out very bad very quickly, but
It worked out.
I must have let go of it a lot sooner than I expected, because I was expecting to land in the hole.
I think I
Something
can say
tricky
in
about-
confidence that this game has the best world design.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think in terms of overall just stage design, general aesthetic, I think it's my favorite.
I mean, they're all unique. They're all different. They're all nice to look at. Detailed.
They all hurt me.
They're all fast.
That's why they hurt me.
Yeah, there are some tricky spots like we saw just a little bit ago with the big spinning platforms, and we'll see that in a couple more stages in a little while. But those can be
Oh
quite
my
difficult with just the way Sonic sort of feels. He can be a little.
Oh my goodness. So what you just saw there was a clip for 3D and 2D rather than having to take a 2D section. It was very scary because
Ooh.
I sunk much
It
further
down
than I
very
actually
low,
expected.
yeah.
I'm very surprised I managed to save that.
Yeah, typically if Sonic goes pretty much fully below the water, I mean, you're not. you
He
don't know
was
if you're
like
gonna be coming
centimeters from dying.
Tried jumping there, didn't really go through in time.
out. Very, very close.
With that 3D and 2D though, you have to let yourself sink under the water a small bit, and
Mhm.
one of the things I've noticed is that nice. You have to jump underneath the water while boosting to get back your homing attack. So while things look like pretty simple, going by real fast, it's actually a lot more technical than you'd realize.
Mhm. So once again, these little spinning platformer bits
Nice.
being a little not quite the most fluid of platforming segment game, unfortunately. So yeah, so normally there's Josh accidentally clipped that ramp there, so he got put on the
I
little
hit the
chase
dash pad, and it locks me in. Oh,
Oh, I didn't realize he had the dash pad. Yeah, so that little chaser sequence thing, we want to just kind of not do it.
it's the only one in the game where your speed is capped to halfway. Not too sure why either. There's no reason behind it. Okay. Even though I didn't get the jump out there, I still maintained end speed, and with enough speed I managed to get the distance. Hello? Apparently I didn't hit the goal ring? I feel like I'm being lied to though.
Wait, what?
I feel like you hit the goal ring.
Yeah,
I feel like you did
I'm,
too.
yeah.
No one has ever done that.
Yeah, I guess it got bumped to the left a little bit. And that
You
was
saw
weird.
how smoothly that goal ring dodged me, like even the goal ring's just like, nah. Game is wrong, you hit that. No, game is right. So moving on to Dragon Road 2, this is one of the few stages that scares me because there's no checkpoints in the stage. So mistakes like that I just made, if I didn't save myself, it would have been very costly. Well, not too costly, but mistakes later on in the stage near the end are what really matter.
Yeah, maybe it might be a little difficult to tell because of how often Josh is using D-Speed to fly over portions of the stage, but it's actually a few really kind of perilous points that if you miss an input somewhere, and yeah, you could maybe try to do the whole thing over. Especially that last little bit where you kind of homing attack forward and jump off that little square. It always kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Josh, why don't you tell everyone how you got into running this game?
Me?
Probably a while ago, right?
It's not actually like as crazy as you think it is. I started out with Generations. I was visiting a friend. I I hadn't played any sort of Sonic since Heroes and Riders, so I was a bit out of touch with what new things had popped around. And my friends showed me Sonic Generations, and I was just mind blown at what Sonic had become. I could have definitely seen myself playing that game for a while, so I picked it up. Browsing YouTube videos, and I saw Sonic Unleashed. Took a look, and I was just, the game was calling to me, essentially. And yeah, go forward like 4-ish years, almost 5, and we're here now.
And what's weird to me about that is like if you never went over his house that day, your whole life would be different right now.
Exactly. I wouldn't have got to where I was. I wouldn't have known all these people.
Dang, this got deep
Yeah,
real
Sonic
quick.
Community is like great place, really. Like I've met a bunch of amazing people just across the world,
Yeah.
just all with the common interest of Sonic.
Ready? Go!
It's funny because the first thing I ever really speedran was Generations, but it was actually the Unleashed Project mod. So
Oh, nice. Unleashed Project is real fun. If you guys have Generations, but you haven't played Unleashed, Generations on PC, there's a mod, Unleashed Project, that will let you play the day stages from Unleashed and Generations. Very fun. Definitely recommend giving it a try. Alright, so we're in Coolidge now, my homeland. I'm the Coolidge Master, thanks to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Great name, thank you, boss. Now, I'm just spamming jump. Oh, thank goodness. Bobsled didn't bully. Spamming jump on the bobsled really helps you because the bobsled's hitbox is weird. It can jump while it's still off the ground. Very devious. Very what's it called? Devious. That's it.
oh, I'd love to see a hitbox if you're on that thing.
It's also hard to talk while playing this game. I've realized.
So, but yeah, you're going to be seeing Josh again, like a lot of this water section here. He's going to be using imp speed through, yeah, it's tough. Kind of using imp speed while doing hops is a really good way to maintain momentum. Like if you hold a jump, you're going to be, you're going to lose momentum over time. But if you simply hop, you can actually keep it going quite a bit longer. All right, caught on the wall there.
I misjudged where I was. It's really that arch that screwed me over. I didn't expect to be launched that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, these things happen.
Y'all have probably also seen a lot of kind of constant drifting while boosting. It's a really good way to sort of maintain your boost meter while keeping that forward momentum up, because you're not going to lose it while you're drifting. Which is really nice. Yeah, that whale kind of has a weird little trigger on it that forces you.
Bit forward too much.
Yeah. Yeah, normally you'd be riding on a bobsled and going to the head, but kind of... Oh, no, sorry, not riding a bobsled. You'd just be running along the head and he would launch you up, but kind of run around.
Good morning,
Try to
Swan
step
J.
up my cave from here. Oh, fun fact, when you're in the 3D bobsled, if you press boost when you go on a ramp, Sonic will do the flip.
Is he really?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
I don't know why, it's just a thing. Use this knowledge. Like, you'll be the talk of the party.
Oh yeah, he did. Look at that. I never knew that. Never seen that. There you go.
Okay, I kind of missed it there. I'm not too sure of the timing. It's like a bit after you leave the ramp. But I just kind of spam it.
I think this game turns 10 years old this year.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yep, November 20th.
Crazy.
The
Yeah, they're porting
North American...
they're porting Shenmue. Maybe they can port this. E3. Be like, hey yo, we got you.
Don't be-
PC port.
Don't be silly.
the dream.
Unleashed didn't get good reviews. There's no way they'd port this.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
ported
porting
Lost World.
Shenmue.
Yeah, but this is Unleashed.
Ready? Go!
Yeah, this stage right here can be pretty scary in a number of ways. Obviously, you're over a considerable amount of water. You know, any accidental bump on the wrong surface or something can send you down.
Taking an intentional death here to do the lap skip. So since I don't have the DLC installed, I'm able to do the old lap skip, which is just how you attacking these ice pillars.
Mm.
Just by doing that, go ring back there. Oh,
Oh, you, you went. See, here's what I love about Sonic Unleashed, right? Is that it is possible to go too fast. It is possible to go too fast. You would think in a speedrun that's the antithesis of what we want, but as a matter of fact.
look, so did you see how fast that goal ring was moving? It was impossible to hit. I tried my best. Like I put my children on the line. Their school funding, all that, just down the drip. Yeah, I could have practiced a bit more, but short on time and all
I
that.
mean, it still looks fast.
you're doing fine. I think next time I go back to school, though, I am going to tell my teacher that if I get lazy, I'm just going to tell her that a goal ring ain't my homework. I think she'll believe me.
Oh boy, this is from the trailer right here.
Oh yeah. JJ Act 1, really cool intro sequence there. A lot of, again, just maintaining that momentum through boosting, stomping, holding into the slide. You have a really cool 3D and 2D right here. Bit new to me, Josh was telling me about it.
I don't know if I'm right, but I feel like this is the hardest stage to perfect.
It is harder than Eggman Land. Eggman Land is close to perfect, while this is still about 20 seconds off from perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. These robots are quite intelligent. He knew I was going to be there. He shot that far ahead like 10,000 years.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of, the pathways for a lot of these water sections are pretty open-ended, so we can just kind of abuse our hops and our boost drifting to go around.
Yes, quick shout out to ZZZ for that 3D and 2D at the beginning. He found that for any percent. He was a great category runner. Also, while I'm at it, shout out to the Japanese runners of this game as well. Some of them have done amazing work over the years, just finding tricks, getting the game to where it is today.
Yeah, like not only does he have to do all these tricks right all at once, but he also has to account for lag.
Oh yeah. Lag and frame rate are big hurdles in a lot of places. Jungle Joyride Act 1 is definitely notorious for significant drops.
I was expecting it head there, so that really threw me off. Like that. And I've done that. And he's putting this. Wait, no. One waterfall skip. Give it one more try.
Yeah, this skip is insanely difficult. It's one of my personal favorites.
Fine, I'll just do it this way then. Oh. If the camera didn't change there like that, I would have been able to still save that, but I'm unfamiliar with what angles to hold.
Yeah, unfortunately the game you can manipulate things like 3D and 2D in other places in the level, but unfortunately some sections also might get messed up where they think they for some reason think the camera is supposed to be a different way because of what you did previously. So nice, got the rail there. You get very, very precise jump.
The lack of boost makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Josh makes this up look easy. It's definitely not that.
years of practice, and even then I'm still struggling with a lot of tricks. This is the only stage to have a bit of a teleport to a different section. Even though I feel like Eggman Land is bigger. So I'm not too sure why Jungle Joyride needs this. Didn't really get as fast as of a time as I wanted, but showed off waterfall skip.
Well, you managed to hit the goal rank, so that's a good start.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I couldn't, like, with that kind of auto.
But still for you and everything, that was a really nice ring.
Fun fact about that final section, you can get intense D speed going into the section. Use it to launch yourself off the ramp, skip everything in that final section and just hit the goal ring.
Ready? Go!
And that stage is crazy. So moving on to Jungle Joyride Act 2, this is there's an interesting lap skip to this. You can skip all 3 laps, but I've yet to pull it off on Xbox, it's quite difficult. I got the lap skip. So what I was doing there is hugging the wall, and the way I'm able to tell what lap I'm on is with the spring on the wall. The second that it comes off the wall, you'll see it just somewhat hovering, is when I know that I'm on lap 3. And then I can just go back there. At the goal ring. The fastest method of that is, it's a very difficult jump. I think it might actually be frame perfect. You want to run down the wall, jump, air boost to the left, so you trigger the 3rd lap, but jump right as you hit it, so you go over the spring, so you can wall jump back up. So instead of having to take another lap, you can just do that. Moving on to Jungle Joyride Act 3. Pretty straightforward stage. No pun intended. Oh, that's what I got for pun.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what we saw at the beginning of GHA Act 1. Again, like similar movement when it comes to just kind of moving across those boards, maintaining the momentum through imp speed, along with, you know, again, stomping into slides.
That's unfortunate. That would have been sub 20. That was close. That was very close. You gotta be like.
Can Xenia run Unleashed?
Last I checked, it's doing better than what it first was when Dario showed it off. I'm not too sure.
Because I mean, the
who was
06
working on it.
community is 06 runs perfectly almost on Xenia now. They have their own leaderboard.
That's 06.
Yeah.
And this is Unleashed.
I guess that's true.
There's quite a gap between the two.
Yeah, this one does run a little better.
Last I saw, it was looking decent. It could run. Like, a lot of things had been smoothed out, but still nowhere near as smooth as console.
Someday. So Arid Sands is might be, in terms of speedruns, my favorite stage still.
I used to like this stage until I accidentally found a skip, which me and Sho worked on together. It was a team effort there, and yeah, it's killed the stage for everyone.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So I'm actually going to be showing it off right here. You'll be getting a 3D and 2D, but instead of going forward, you're going to be going this way. But you want to jump there, because if you don't, you're not going to make it like this. So just take the quick death and try it again. Now there's two different ways to re-enter the stage at this point. The hardest way is using a rock to get quite a good boost up. The other way is clipping through, which is rather inconsistent. Can be amazing, can be awful.
Did Sharu find this?
The clip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. think
It
he's
only
here.
works on Xbox 360.
Oh, is it really? Oh, I completely forgot it was called.
Yeah, so that clip wasn't too bad. It can be a whole lot faster. It can be like 2 seconds, or it can take like a minute.
Hmm.
Now moving on to Sands 2, quick time event the stage. A stage where you can get, what is it, 3 million? 3 billion? Either or. One of the wall panels in the stage glitches out for whatever reason. We don't really understand why it does what it does. But you can just get ridiculous scores. What determined you? No clue, Flandrew. It's very inconsistent. Such an inferior. It's probably coming down to pixels where you're colliding into the wall. I have been pushed back out of bounds before, but that's really as best as I can explain it. I don't know the intense technicalities behind it. What's the timer at the moment, Paul? That's pretty bad for my standards, but that could be worse.
Stage is so dope. I love, I love Empire City.
Empire City's great. Probably the stage that got me into this game just by watching Anon do like his S-Rank videos.
Hmm.
Just like hearing the music for it, just the wall running later on the stage, just oh.
It's like Speed Highway, but better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try for 3D and 2D here. Nice. You see, all these buildings are real. Sonic is just like going so fast, he just phases through. Don't be fooled.
I mean, hey, the Flash did it. You can do
Exactly.
it. Yeah, so there was a big, that first section of the bridge, actually, if you go along the right side on the bottom, you know, playing it normally, there's a big chaser sequence that happens there, but it's good, you can just skip over it.
Oh, that's why. It's like I heard a loud noise outside and it threw me off. Still a pretty decent Empire City though. Managed to get the 3D and 2D no problem.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, thankfully at the very end of the stage here, there's like a bunch of collision all around this building, so you can fly off and kind of let yourself fall down.
And now we're moving on to the stage that has the most room for mistakes. Oh boy. I'd like to know who designed the stage, who thought this was a good idea, who approved of this.
Izuku? Is this your radio?
That's good. Oh, wait. Give me 1 sec.
that's all the day stages. Yeah, that last section can really be, especially if you're not as familiar with the game, it can really throw people off with how, I guess, slippery Sonic can be in Unleashed compared to stuff like other generations. So it can be quite sketchy to move along those platforms. But now we're actually going to be going on to night stages. So night stages, quite different, quite different. Get ready to hear this battle theme a lot. But they're actually super cool. A lot of people don't give night stages enough credit for how much kind of fun speed tech there actually is, and you're about to see quite a bit. So obviously we plays the Werehog. Now, because this is with all of our stuff pretty much maxed out, we have all like the moves, the combos, the special things that we can do pretty much on deck and ready to go. So Josh grabbed an item here that's going to give him on the full maxed out Unleash meter. And by doing this combo right here, he can basically go into an infinite string. He just has to get the right height. There you go. And so he's just going to be floating across the stage. So yeah, when you're in the Unleash meter, you get access to doing this combo and basically be able to string it into itself. And that allows you to kind of maintain this height going off the platform. And you can just fly all the way across. So it's pretty convenient. You're also going to see a lot of this movement with the like the drill attack is really good for kind of getting yourself across distances pretty quick.
Alright, that worked. Sorry for the horse faults.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, there's also you're going to see a few of these. Oh, fell through the floor there. So yeah, so door clips are a little weird. Thankfully, Josh had the checkpoint there ready to go, so it's fine. But oh yeah, again. So doing this specific combo and canceling it into your shield will essentially allow you to pass through objects for some reason. Like if you cancel this specific sort of breakdance kick move into the shield, Sonic's hitbox and everything is being moved forward enough to where once he goes into the shield, it sort of maintains his position where the hurt box is. And so if you time it right, which is really difficult, it's not very lenient at all. You can basically push yourself forward into walls and things like that and clip through. Unfortunately, though, if anything is slightly mistimed or you're having to deal with variance in terrain and all this kind of stuff, you can just fall through the floor, and it's not a whole lot.
One thing that can also screw you over is the lock-on that the shield has. If an enemy is too close, Sonic will say the enemy's behind you, he'll just straight up just do a 180, face the enemy instead.
Right. Yeah, places like that, we usually have to just kind of clear out enemies or try to just get to the door before they get close enough and get the clip as fast as we can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I shouldn't have actually done that.
What did you do?
I did something I should have looked at in practice.
Oh, I see.
One thing that I can actually point out about this stage is that you'll notice that the cycles are now different with these platforms. For every first life that you go into a stage, whether it be day or night, if there are cycles, they'll always be different on the first life. Past that, they'll always go on the same pattern until you leave the stage and re-enter.
Yeah, it's one of the other really common sort of movement combos that we do in the air in particular is this kind of 3-hit one where you do the 2 swipes into the sort of kind of like a propeller kind of thing. Yeah, getting on the sledges.
Dying on the stage is the cycles, waiting it through. I might actually just do this properly now. I'm still... Nope, wrong thing. There it is. I needed that. Good thing there's another here. So what's supposed to happen is the game wants me to go into the middle of this area down here and start up a long fight. Don't have time for that though, so we're just going to fly right over it.
Josh once again using this really dope Unleash Infinite combo. Let's skip over all this nonsense.
Okay. By having these things loading here, the hooks on the wall have now spawned in, so grab another full unleash meter. And off we go again.
Yeah, thankfully there are a bunch of barrels and items and things across all the different stages that will have some power-ups and things like that we can use to kind of completely refill our unleash gauge.
It's just very convenient that there just happens to be two in the stage,
Yeah.
distance from each other. It was probably intended for the fights, but
Yeah, the other nice thing, thankfully, about having all of our stuff pretty much powered up, and all of our combos and everything, is that when we do have to do fights where we cannot skip them, then we can kind of blow through them as quickly as possible. This game does have a kind of a leveling up system in a way, where as you get all those little yummy little yellow diamond triangle things, whatever you want to call them, you can spend them on various points to upgrade things for both regular Sonic and Whereupon.
We have a $26 donation from Flandre. Says, alright guys, this is half. Let's try and get the other half, because Eggman Land is a good stage.
Hey.
So we're only $26 away from unlocking Eggman Land now.
Oh man, I hope someone sends in the money.
it is skip this. You get to see the entirety. There's about 3-4 minutes of stage that we skip at the end. Just by using a go through wall with Werehog and just falling down. Alright, we're moving on to Coolidge Night now. This is one of the hardest. I won't say harder, I will say hardest. Mostly because it is the longest stage out of them all. And there are a lot of go through walls. There's ice, which make fights difficult. Past that, there's not really too much. We'll see a few interesting tricks here and there. Oh! Ick. 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 So I could have saved that there if I was able to jump back onto the stage area, but I wasn't able to properly do that. The wall extends out further, so I had to go around that.
Yeah, historically, at least from my own experience, messing around with night stages like this particular clip going through the store is very, very difficult to avoid just dropping below.
Funny enough, I actually got the door clip in practice.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, well, time to never get that again. First time I've ever got it.
So far, most of my success was done on the left side.
Oh, well dang. Looks like someone donated $26.
I wonder
I
who.
wonder who it was. Alright, Dax donated $26, no comment, but that unlocks Eggman Land.
Oh, I know that Dex guy.
Yeah, I heard he's pretty popular.
I don't like him.
Oh, I see. This is going as bad as I expected, really.
Oh, this. Yeah, I've had this happen to me before.
Curse you, Coolidge. I knew the start was going to be interesting. The problem is with the stage, if I was to do it normally, the cutscenes would take up a huge amount of time.
It takes ages. It takes so
Like,
long.
put it this way, my estimate is very generous. I didn't think I'd be getting near that. I'm actually starting to worry a bit.
It'll be okay.
No, Barrel, cooperate with me. These are dark times.
Yeah, even compared to like even just casually taking all the stages into consideration, like maybe minus Eggman Link actually. I mean, this stage in particular is just such a drag compared to others.
Nice. Oh. You had me worried there for a second, Sonic. You pulled through for me. Proud of you. You're back on the team. There'll be
There we go.
times like that where it looks like Sonic's about to fall through the floor, but
Yeah.
instead he just ends up clipping through the wall. So, with the help of Sharu, we were able. Well, he found a new skip here, and the old strat would have been 2 go through walls, but instead you can just climb up over, drill attack down, and you're good. It saves so much time. It's a great trick.
I was telling Josh this earlier, but I love when longest time a trick goes unfound, and then finally when it is, it just turns out that you can just go over something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like couldn't find a way
A lot
through.
of
Okay,
tricks on
well,
Unleashed look difficult, but when they're broken down, they're really not. Did he do?
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a good slide.
yeah. So there's a cool thing here. Josh is gonna be pushing this little snowman dude, and doing a specific combo where he goes from this rolling attack into an uppercut to get up to this ledge a little bit early. Yeah, something else that's really handy, and we saw it earlier when he went to set up for the using the drill to get over the door. There are a lot of times if you whenever you're grabbing onto a ledge or a pole or anything like that, and you're swinging upward, you can actually like hold the button to jump off and sort of maintain that momentum, and you kind of jump off and you're doing that little, the spinning animation and everything. It's super useful. I think a lot of people casually, including me when I was younger, we didn't know that existed, so it felt like you're just kind of
Wish I
locked
knew of that
in
as well.
like glue to to
I didn't
everything.
learn a lot of the square hog tech until after I
Yeah.
completed the game.
Yeah, it's one of those little things that makes the Werehog just feel so much more fluid when it comes to platforming.
Yeah.
And like it actually, a lot of stages are actually quite fun, even casually, just by doing that stuff. Like we're seeing it here as he's going up the wall, jumping along these poles really fluidly and kind of going from little bit to bit. Whereas if you're not holding the buttons to get those smooth jumps, I mean it's just, oh god, it takes forever. It's just not comfortable at all. So just a little thing to take note of if anyone here wants to go back and play Unleashed.
No, I missed that. So one thing I found out is that you can hit the button and still, you'll be sliding a bit when you go to use the guy with the flamethrower. You can slide onto the button and just like save a bit of frames there. Instead of having to stop, use the flamethrower, then move onto the button. Ooh. Ooh. So this room right here, this room as a whole, is notorious for dropping inputs. Seem to have managed to get through okay. But it was scary. Cool, my jumps didn't go through in time, but still managed to salvage it. Oh nice, we have not a full Unleash meter, but enough to enter Unleash mode, which will make this final fight so much better. So much quicker, so much smoother, just shouldn't be an issue at all. I'll go a bit more into Unleash form. Like, it's been explained for flying, but a few handy features about it. It increases your attack speed and attack damage. You're invulnerable to any attacks. But with that being said, you can still fall off the stage and die.
Yeah.
But you're not like God mode. Oh. good time. It was unfortunate about the resets and whatnot.
Yeah, college being college. Doors being doors, and
Alright, moving on to Chun-Nan, once again, battle theme, like, glorious, can't get enough of it. Let's see, I have to mention about this stage. Oh, this used to be Blast's favorite stage until I cheated. Literally cheated at a video game. And he is retired now, he doesn't play it, he just stays in his room.
poor guy.
So what? Oh, that was a nice little clip. So what essentially happened is, with the IL on the stage, there is a hook at the end, and of course you can't grab the hook when it's red. But apparently I didn't know about that rule, so I just kind of disregarded it. It must have at least been one frame where it wouldn't kick you off, even though it was red. So I managed to get that in an IL and just have sub 118.
I'm guessing that's still the,
Yeah.
yeah, I had a feeling.
Me and Blast are still the only two with sub 120, I believe. Other people could have. I haven't kept up with Unleashed times as of late. I swear, if I just got it just now, I feel like it was trying me. Alright, this was a real good Chun-Nan. I didn't die, did I? Wow.
I don't believe so.
Wow, a 128. That's actually really good for Marathon. Yeah, just like 10 seconds and some change off my PB. Alright, Act 2. Good lord, this stage. So for anyone that's played this game, you'll know what this stage is and how awful it is. Thankfully, us speedrunners know how to cheat and just disregard all that. Just jump on that. That is the Lamps hitbox that we jumped on. We come over here and we're pretty much near the end of the stage already.
Yeah, the devs for this game had some interesting ideas of what collision is.
One thing I'd like to point out is that you can't touch the ground down there. If you do, the Dark Hour will spawn like it has here, and you won't be able to get back here. Making this trick, yeah, pretty much impossible to do. You'd have to take the normal route for the stage.
So I love that big enemy manipulation there, getting him to swing right as the other guys are spawning. It's always fun to look at.
It used to be, before that strat was found, you just spawn them as quick as possible, but I believe I was the one to find that out actually, because I think I hit him once for whatever reason. I don't recall what it was, but I found out that 2 hits and you run to the door and he'll always be going for the swing attack. And when he first did that, he ended up killing like 3 of the enemies, and I was like, hang on, I wonder if I could actually use that to my advantage in a speedrun. And turns out you can, and turns out I ruined speedrunning. Because relying on RNG, enemy RNG, is not fun. Can take a 35-second run and just turn it into hours of attempts.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness, that was an interesting clip. So onto Arid Sands. Personally, one of my favorite night stages.
Oh, this one's super cool.
Well, excluding Fire Wizards.
Yeah, just a lot of abuse of that, that combo allowing you to move your hitbox forward and kind of shield through the walls.
No! God, donut. That was awful.
Yeah, a lot of the stage is sort of combined amongst the town portion of the level, kind of this big, almost like I wouldn't say maze-like, but I mean, you're just kind of going from room before you get out to this last stretch, and we're basically just going to be skipping the whole town segment all the way to the last little bit.
So close yet so far, I agree, Sid. So what he means by that is I successfully done like 3 of the 4 go-through walls flawlessly, and then the final one, the last one that mattered, I didn't get it. And it was right before the checkpoint as well, so I would have been good.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate how unlucky you can get kind of falling through the floor like that.
One thing I'd like to point out. Okay, cool. I hadn't made that. With the IL of the stage, Xbox has the disadvantage here. One of the spawn points, or triggers rather, to get everything later in the stage to spawn in, it's shorter, I think, on Xbox. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is with it, but it's harder to hit getting things to spawn in. So I found that the out of bounds trick that I do just doesn't really work on Xbox. And we all know how annoying that fight that can be if you run out of Unleashed or let the wizard start healing the Titan.
Oh yeah, that can be very, very frustrating.
SSR, you can. I have looked into it, but you need to go further than what you do to get the trigger to actually activate and stay activated. Alright, so we're moving on to Empire City. Biggest enemy number 2, inanimate objects on beams, known as spiked beams. If you've played this game, you'll understand the pain of spiked beams.
I think with all the spikes that Sonic's wearing right now, he'd have some sort of buff, but nah.
He can't grab spikes. He's not that great. He just got his nails done. I understand why.
Good looking boy.
He's in the big city. He's got to make that right impression. The city life. Other than that, the night music on these stages is fantastic when it's not battle theme. That was risky, but I made that jump. When you do that attack in midair, you lose the ability to grab any sort of ledges. Oh, that's nice. So you really want to be careful with what you do where, especially with a stage like Empire City Night, because it's mainly just all suspended in midair.
Yeah, it's a very perilous stage, so a lot of the movement that you'll see Josh doing, both not only just the air combo like that, the typical sort of windmill combo, trying to angle himself properly, but also some of the drills where he'll drill really far forward and dip below a beam and then manage to grab it. I mean, a lot of that stuff is pretty tight.
So right here, I have to make sure I get a few of those enemies and make sure that... Okay, cool. I got enough enemies and I managed to make the jump over. It's very important that I make enough to get enough Unleashed to be able to activate it for a trick later on in the stage. Skipping that Titan like that allows me to well, not only skip the fight, but ahead here would be other stuff loaded in and a electric gate preventing me from going on. And just by going over that gap there, I'm able to skip all that. A huge amount, say about a minute or so, probably a minute and 30.
Yeah,
It's
quite a
just
bit.
skipped by just doing those small skips there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really stop here, because with the end, you have to take that, well, go over to the other side, deactivate a generator, take the, damn, well, you're going to be seeing it anyway. I realized that too late. Kind of hipped that up.
Ah.
Yeah, if you don't get that the attack out before. So the second to last attack, you have to get it out, otherwise you'll just fall down right there. Ooh. Thank you, SSR. You've reminded me what I can show off after the run if we have time. And so that's what you were supposed to do for this section, so kind of a drag that I had to do that, but I'll show off another trick that I enjoy. It's not one that you'd see too often in any sort of category, but it's like to let people know that they can do this.
Yeah,
So you're supposed to kill that Titan there and the gate will open. You can also go through wall, but you could also go through floor. There's that risk. But yeah, you can actually just jump on the water tank over there and clear the gap. I've been told to stop cheating, but I'm trying to go fast, so there's a clear issue here.
I haven't seen you cheating at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not playing the way the developers intended, obviously cheating. Oh wow, I somehow hit, I somehow hit the third enemy, the Shade. Not actually too sure what their names are, just call them Shades. Sounds about right.
Call them little dudes. It's like little glowy dudes.
Oh wow, that was a curse you game. That was a good attack to get up there, but I didn't really get the air. So instead I did a backup that I found. You can run at that ledge, be able to grab it while you're still in running form, so you can do a drill attack after you jump up, and you'll be able to clear that gap instead of having to activate the platform. And you're not able to jump up onto the platform or anything because it's surrounded by an invisible wall. You'll see me do a drill attack every now and then just to speed things up.
Yeah, thankfully you can do it right off the ground, so it's good for kind of just general horror as long as movement like that.
So I could attempt the go through wall, but I'm not 100% comfortable with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the items that I need to grab. Oh, narrowly dodged that.
You know, this stage is pretty straightforward for the most part. The general platforming and things like that, not a whole lot of super crazy skips or anything like that. So this is also one of the first night stage.
Yep, the first night stage. And it's just mellowing you into like the battles and all that, the platforming here and there. I mean, as you can see, I'm not supposed to defeat the final Titan that quickly. But of course, being max everything, you're going to notice that you would just like tear through everything with the right combos. Alright, so we're on to Act 2 now. Not many locations have an Act 2 for night, but I believe it's 3 do. Apatos, Missouri, and Dragon Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. So this one is just basically there are 4 key pedestals and 4 keys hidden around these doors. We don't have time for that, so just gonna jump here, go here, do that, say hello to my good friend, give him a back massage, and now he's going to sleep, and he's gonna let me out. And that was Act 2.
Easy peasy.
Alright, and now we're moving on to Rooftop Run Night. Not a bad stage. There is a fight right at the start, but you can easily bypass it just by jumping up to this top here and doing that. So what the fight would do is it would close off this wall here, forcing me to fight through. I'm not a fan of that. Fighting is wrong. Fighting is so wrong, I'm going to run away from it like this. Did try wall clip, not bad. What I'm going to do here is hit that checkpoint, but what that does is it gives me a free camera. Thankfully I still know where to go, but it will make this a bit difficult. Come on. There we go. Yep, and I'm correct. I'm going towards the clock tower now. So we skipped about 3-ish minutes. If this was a casual playthrough, it'd be about 3-4 minutes of actual stage. Now we just have to ascend up the clock tower.
And again, once again, that little built-in trick of maintaining momentum, jumping off all those ledges, like really comes into play in areas like this.
Where you grab the any sort of ledge or hook on the wall, it'll affect your jumping height. Alright, there's a bit of a difficult trick here. Ah, so close. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to drill attack while hugging the wall so I can get across. Should be good this time though. Yep, there we go. Just had to hold right a bit more. Wasn't a bad Spagonia at all. And what are we up to? Savannah Citadel, last place.
You have 7.5 minutes. Gotta go fast.
Yeah, I should be fine. I should have actually been finished by now, but my rust was something I was expecting. I didn't get much time to practice. But even with little practice, there's not too many active runners for this game. So I feel like I was the one that would have put on the best show.
Is there anyone else who runs this game?
Swissy in the chat does all day stages. More people do all day stages, really. ZZZ was also in the chat. He does categories, any percent. He's done all medals.
I know Dax was learning any percent for a hot minute. But...
I'm not good at video games, dude.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Alright, so we did that fight fairly quick. This being the second location you go to in this game, having the max stats is real nice. Every fight is breezy. Okay. I fell, but the hitbox there is quite interesting, so I was able to just go next to that button and it would activate. I don't know why it does that, I just know these things. Oh, another thing that intimidates people when it comes to this game is looking at day stages and just trying to worry about going that fast. Everyone goes at their own pace. Like, I'm not expecting anyone to pick up this game, become a living legend in the first week.
Yeah, that's the second week.
I mean, even if people aren't looking to take this game super seriously or anything, I still highly recommend if you want to mess around with it and learn any of the general speed tech. I mean, at least like, hop into, Dade Sonic and mess around with M speed and D speed a little bit. You'll probably get the hang of it a lot faster than you think you will. After that experimentation, and hell, mess with night stages. Night stages and speedrunning are not nearly as hard and actually a lot of fun. So.
I wasn't all big on night stages when I first got the game. It took me a while to adjust to them, but once I adjusted, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. That should work out. 220, not bad. Actually a pretty decent time, given that that's not an IL attempt. World record's just barely sub 2. It's a rough stage, Savannah Citadel Act 1. How we almost at estimate already, because I'm bad. I had to restart there because of cycles. This is the only stage you have to do it in. That first of the stage is truly intimidating if you're not familiar with it.
Oh, it's
you have to
very.
go across it like that.
Yeah, it's very scary.
I fell. Not off, but platform, come back here. No jump. I am getting this. Oh, by the way, time's almost here. But I'm just wanting to try to get this trick.
Yeah, so there's a this really dope thing that Josh is going to go for. I'll let him see if he can get it.
It's not being kind to me. It's not something in my control.
Yeah.
What is the time at for? Because I don't want to go over this.
117.
Okay, yeah, I got plenty of time.
Man, this is when Sonic games had lighting engines.
No. Hello. You okay, Sonic? I was doing something there, and you thought it was good to just stop.
What the?
What the heck?
Wait, what?
He's just like, nope, not today.
He's just like, oh wait, it's real high up.
We went into the falling animation and then it canceled out of it briefly and then went back into it.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so what you're gonna see.
Oh, time.
There it is. Yep. So, for some reason or another, if you kind of whack that big enemy, like
It was like
eyes are in the
118
middle
even.
of
It was
so nice.
awful. But it was underestimate, so I'm happy. No
Nice.
need to retire just yet.
But yeah, like whacking that enemy as they're
version
falling, if you just get it on the right, I don't know if how frame perfect it is or anything like that, but if you just get it
Something
right,
like
it
that, I don't
manages to despawn the whole room.
Look at all of these Unleash runners in chat telling people what version to play. It doesn't matter, like, 360 is capped at 30, but it has the advantage for categories. PS3 is uncapped at 60, but won't reach 60, but has the advantage for most individual levels. Both are good to play. Yeah. Alright, so we're doing Eggman there now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll hand it over to you, Paulie. Here you go.
Alright. So, welcome to Eggman Land.
One word.
Yeah, one word. I've been practicing this for about
You
6
haven't
years
even
now.
told them about the rides and all that. What rides are there?
Oh yeah. I have 4 lives. Only doing this with 4 lives. No, he probably has 99. Can you do it with 1 life?
I'll try. No promises. My goal was under 10 minutes, so...
So Josh and I were talking about this earlier. I think, you know, we when you really think about it, so many people are, I think now, especially those, you know, those of y'all in the community are so used to seeing Eggman Land just like destroyed with all these cool skips and everything that it's, you know, it's kind of been a while since we've, you know,
Apparently
people don't
I
really see,
rail swapped one too many times.
yeah, people don't really see like a full, you know, full skipless run and seeing how, like, you know, quickly the whole thing can be done. So.
Well, the whole dying in one thing like didn't go as well as I thought. Just going to be doing one small thing here. It's not a huge skip or anything. I will be here in a few seconds. But I'm doing it just so the stage is a bit more trippier when it comes to the first Werehog section. Yeah. There's also a beta pole just there in the wall to the right.
Yeah, so a trigger may have been skipped somewhere. You couldn't tell.
There's also a platform down there, which I believe is in the days section, but the fact that you can still see it from here is interesting with the render distance and all, like when it starts to deload and all that. Everything's invisible. This is just memory that comes into play.
Yeah, it's essentially on a kind of a big rounded platform with a bunch of bottomless areas all around it, so it's not really that scary, I guess.
Not when you've played it for as long as I have.
Exactly. Yeah, so of course Eggman Land has all these little switches that put you back and forth between Werehog and Breakthrough Sonic. A lot of the things are still very much deloaded. Yeah, normally you're in this like really confined little 2D space, like all these cramped walls and platforms all around you, but you get this nice little skybox with the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, apparently there's a bobsled in this stage. Like, no one told me this. I think about. Oh, I shouldn't have skipped that jump. Dash pad. Yeah, no one told me there was bobsled in here. I've just been playing the stage normally without it. Also, fun fact: my record for one hand Eggman Lane speedrun is about 20-ish minutes.
You can
Yeah,
bring
I
that down.
had to do it.
What did you
It's just a fun-
do with the other hand?
It watched. As the good hand do.
Just imagine you having it like on a sock puppet, like just constantly pointed at the screen. Every so often it says sly remarks with his googly eyes.
Get that jump again. No. Can't make it up onto that ledge there with a clean jump.
Dax, look, you're famous. They recognize you in chat.
Oh, hey. That's me.
So I understand a lot of people have trouble with this room, and yet here I am at the end. Just get good. No, I'm just kidding. It is a difficult room first time around, especially going on the right-hand side of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the pipes are just... There's the solid floor, and then there's like where it actually starts to slide.
Right, it's very deceptive.
And then, yeah. Let's see if I can get... Not that. Not what I had in mind. So I didn't get the jump in. I'll say
Oh.
that.
Hmm.
You have about a frame to jump, and then you can homing attack the spring.
Hmm.
Loading screen usually. The loading screen like that will only happen if I die in a Werehog section and it has to, or rather, if I die with Day Sonic and I have to reload it tonight, and vice versa. Gonna pause these for safety. Oh, that was close. Every attack takes up 20 rings, so would rather have rings. Six minutes here isn't bad. This is usually the part where I clip out of the stage, but skip this, doing it normally. As long as these fans don't hit me, these pipes will be pretty cruisy. Kick. Oh, I don't think that got him. This room with the enemies is quite a pain. We'll say that. Took a bit longer than I wanted, but we're through. Damn it. It's first pipe, sorry, first fan blade, so... Oh well, that one hit me. I was gonna try for a pretty nifty trick, but I'll just have to do this, somewhat normally.
Hmm.
Or I could just, you know, have my inputs eaten like that. Wow. That's unfortunate.
Well,
It's alright though, we're not too far off from that room. Yeah, when your speed is killed in those pipes, it's really hard to like get it going again if it's not a downward pipe. And just having that kind of jump to make is quite annoying. One of the more trickier rooms that people deal with in their first playthrough, you can just easily skip like that.
Thought this was no skips.
Well, I'm still in the room, and I just get to the exit quicker. You wanna fight? How?
Mate.
Look, I didn't skip anything, I just accelerated leaving that room. That's all it was. Eggman Land is an interesting IL because of how fast it can go, how you need to know both day and night Sonic to be decent at it.
I'm kind of sad that my VOD is gonna get split, but I do need to sleep, so
oh well.
yeah, it's fine.
Have I got time to show off a glitch or two after this?
Sure. Not really,
You
but
sound
sure.
very... Well, I'll just do the game crash then. I need to get... there's gotta be a quicker one than that. I think the quickest crash... Actually, I'll just do break jump glitch and we'll see how that goes. Because I said I was gonna do it in the race. Well, not race, marathon, run, but... Yeah, so a trick that I didn't do, or didn't really address at all during the run, is break jump glitch. It's end speed going into a 2D section. It sounds simple, but this one is quite technical for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons that we don't understand. Best case scenario, you can finish the stage in about 20 seconds. Worst case scenario, your game crashes and your file becomes corrupted. Well, there you go, Sonic. Off into the void. Well, I'm not going to get it, but that's break jump glitch. And just like Sonic, I'm out of here as well. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Dax, for the co-commentator.
Of course.
Much appreciated. Shout out to the English community. They're cool people. And yeah, enjoy the marathon.
Alright, and Sonic Speed will be back in a little bit, because we're actually going to switch over to Blazing for a little bit, so I cannot die.